Hello, my name is Jason Flowers, and I am doing a discussion post 5.2 on racialized society, and this is part A of a two-part series. So the first question that is asked is, according to Emerson and Smith, what is racialized society? So Emerson and Smith says that a racialized society is really a more useful term than prejudice or racism. And they give the definition that says a society wherein race matters profoundly for differences in life experiences, life opportunities, and social relationships. Racialized society of the United States is characterized by low marriage rates, intermarriage rates, de facto segregation, socioeconomic inequality, personal identities, social networks. And the two races that are primarily looked at is black and white, the black and white divide. Of course, there's other races that factor in, but the primary races that were looked at is black and white divide. And so simply put, my own definition of racialized society is revolves around one, socioeconomic status, education, and political views on social justice and fairness. So that is part A of the two of question one. So the second question is, in what ways is claiming color blindness counterproductive? Claiming color blindness counterproductive. And when you don't claim color, or you don't bring in factor in color in any situation, you are really not giving the situation any credit at all. I mean, you're not recognizing anyone's history, you're not recognizing anyone's differences, you're not recognizing anything, and you're just pretty much going about your day in your own window, or your own vein of how you see things. So if you don't recognize color, if you don't think color matters, then you're really minimizing someone else's culture. You're really minimizing maybe the things that they've gone through and who they are as people, and you're really minimizing your learning experience. The only way that we can really learn is we just really recognize and identify and say, hey, we are different people, we are different colors, we have different history, we have different backgrounds, we are products of our environment. And all of those things really matter as it pertains to making someone feel as though they belong, making someone feel as though they are a part of what's going on. So that is question B, answering claiming color blindness as counterproductive. It does not lead to productive conversations, and it does not lead to awareness on all people's part. Part C, in your opinion, why does talking about race or ethnicity often becomes difficult and volatile? Why is it difficult for you to talk about race or ethnicity personally? Well, I think that a lot of it becomes difficult and violent because people just really don't want to see things for what they are. We are a nation, a melting pot of people. I mean, we have not only blacks and whites, but we have Asians, we have Hispanics, we have Middle Eastern folks. I mean, the United States is a big melting pot of people. And it oftentimes becomes difficult because we don't want to recognize, or we don't want to acknowledge what has gone on in the past for different races, different cultures, and things of that nature. We just want to eliminate or forget about everything that's ever happened and just go from today moving forward. Well, it's just not that simple, because each person carries along with them their culture. They carry along with them their history. They carry along with them these preconceived ideas and notions about how they're viewed and how they view others. So oftentimes when you have to sit in the room with someone else and have this discussion, is uncomfortable because no one wants to talk about things that are uncomfortable. They don't want to talk about the elephant in the room. They don't want to talk about what makes us different, or how are we different. In all practicality, we may be different to a certain extent, but we have way more in common than we think we do. And it says, why is it difficult for you to talk about race or ethnicity personally? I have no problem discussing race or ethnicity personally. I've grown up in an environment where it was all black, went to an all black high school. Then I went to a college that was predominantly white. So I work in a industry that is predominantly white. So I have no problem talking about it at all. I have no problem sharing with it my thoughts, my views, my opinions at all. So I'm really comfortable with having those conversations because I've lived in a lifestyle, grew up in black history, and I've also seen how other cultures. I've traveled all over the world, and I've also seen how other cultures live, and I respect each person for who they are, and I respect each person for the things that they've brought to the table. And I do really understand that we all are people, and we have the same issues, we have the same struggles, regardless of color. And now we do have to acknowledge and recognize that we are of different color, and some of our personal experiences are different. But at the very end of the day, we all share the same struggles: life, children, marriage, relationship. I mean, all of those things are very similar. The last question is: according to Emerson and Smith, in what ways does the organization and structure of the church contribute to the problem of racialization? Now, what I found interesting is in the reading is that 90% of American congregations are made up of at least 90% of the same people. That was interesting to me that such a high number of 90% is there. And then it kind of goes to, people choose to be with people like themselves. So I think how the church contribute to that is, it plays into your culture. So you have subcultures and you have social systems. So subcultures would be like music, symbols, sermon styles, emotions. Raised in a black church, that's what black churches like. That's what they do. That feeds into their emotion, right? And then also going to white churches, there's a little different. They have, they really are strong in evangelism. They sing hymn songs, and their teaching is kind of impersonal to a certain extent. So that's what they like. And you can't, in my own personal opinion, it's not one or the other. You go and worship how you like to go and worship. You should be able to worship in any style that fits you. Just because you're black doesn't mean you can't go to, you don't appreciate or really thrive in a white church in terms of how they worship, or vice versa. It is really what brings you closer to the Lord, what draws you in or makes that connection, that relationship with the Lord personal for you. And that can come in any way, type, form, fashion of personal worship style. So, the thing that I always like to say is, inequality plays a big part of it. And also folks like to be around like-minded people because they feel some type of bond or connectedness. But at the very end of the day, it should all be about the body of Christ and what brings you closer to the Lord. And however that sees fit for you to do, then by all means, that's how it should be done. So that concludes part A, and I shall return for part B. Thank you.